Okay, part 3 in Illustrator on how to get a handle around it, and we're going to look today at how to use the tools, or the basic tools, to get yourself cracking. Now usually every time you open Illustrator, your selection tool will be up, alright? Okay, if it's not, it's because you've used it before and you may have another tool and you've saved the workspace and the work, so you'll come back to the same tool that you were using last time. So always go straight up into the selection tool, and that way you can't go wrong. If you want to go and do something, you can grab it and do it and use it whatever you want to do. Now the way Illustrator works is like a patchwork quilt, if you like. It's made up of parts, of individual components, and each individual component is considered to live in a square, alright, a bounding box that you can make bigger and smaller. Now this is due to, in part, the fact that it's not a pixelated work that you're mucking around with. It is what we call a rasterized image. Therefore every point on the Illustrator work is a mathematical equation, and not a plotted point between two, and not a plotted line between 2 points, or a pixelated version of squares that make up that. Now, even though the pixels are very, very tiny when they are in a normal work, when you rasterize it, you are making them into a mathematical equation. And what that allows you to do is allows you to expand and manipulate that image to almost an unboundable size. So you can make it smaller and larger. Now I'll give you a good example really quickly. If I go over here and select the shape, this is the shape tool. If I go over here, I can scroll down. Oh, incidentally, oh no, I won't show you that yet. And I'll choose the ellipse tool. Yep. Okay, now again, I'll get my navigator back up, of course. He's always coming in handy. Alright. Like I said, just move it down the other way. Now my ellipse is going to be black, alright? So over here, before I get onto the ellipse, if I go over here and click on the colour, and then come over here and change it to whatever colour I want, that's going to be my fill colour. If I want my outline to be a different colour, then I'll click a different colour over here. Alright? You have a variance of colour at the top, and you can muck around with colour. We'll talk a bit about that later on. But let's just say, for instance, I'm going to draw a circle. So I come over here now, and I can just go like this, and I'm going to draw one, and it'll be like an egg. Alright? That egg is great, yeah? Let me say if I want to draw, let's change the colour now, this colour here to red. Alright? Sorry, I'll go back to blue. I've got to unselect that, so that means I've got to come back up the top and unselect it. Now let's click my colour again and change it to red. Now I'm going to come back again, navigator, see, always comes in handy. Come back over here to my ellipse. I'm going to make a little one that's going to be a petal. Alright, cool. Very good. Come back over and say that. Now, that's selected. If I go Control C, then I can paste by going Control V, 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 Control V. Now, you'll see that I have got a whole heap of what's going to be petals, alright, around my flower. Okie doke. Now, how many did I paste? So many. Alright, so that doesn't really matter so much. So now I can start thinking about what I'm going to do. I don't like the size, I don't like the way that looks. Okay? Now, I can transform that myself by bringing that in until it's close. Alright? Or I can delete it very easily and get another one, same colour. This time if I hold the shift key down and then press, I'm going to get a perfect circle. Now if I was to have had a plotted Now because that, as you can see, that looks so really good. I don't know if I can do this, but we might be able to increase our magnification on it. Alright, now that's 200%, and as you can see the circle is perfect. And I can make that bigger even, I think, and you can still see, that's just too big. Okay, you can see how perfect that circle is. Alright, and that's because it's a rasterized piece of work. Alright, you'll get to fully rasterize it if you need to later on, but Illustrator does it automatically. It works on mathematical equations and not on pixelated lines. Alright, so that's one thing you have to remember. And the other thing you have to remember is that it works on pieces, on patchwork pieces. Right, now all these petals are going to be behind that. Alright, now I don't want like this. I want them to be in line here. Yeah? Actually, let's move our whole working image here down. So I can do that by, because I've got my pointer tool, I just select on the white and select all the inputs, components that I like. They're all selected now. I can move them together. Alright, and we'll make him a bit smaller so I can see what's going on. Now, like all these pieces, like I said, are little components. You've got to now manipulate the components to make them work and make them look a high-end piece of graphics. And that's where it becomes a little bit tricky. That's where the skill set comes in. So now that we're using the tools, the main one to remember is the pointer tool. Okay. Alright. So change the color. If you want to select it like that, you don't want to do that, you select with the little arrow over here. If you want to get yourself a new color, select off anything that you're working, come over here and change it. Yep. Select your shape tool over here. You've got a variety of shapes. Yep. You might choose the little star shape, and you might make a little star there. Okay. Alright. Click on the pointer and hit enter. And that keeps it. Sorry. And then click off. Okay. This tool here is your text tool. Alright. Now initially this was going to be a text piece, and we'll get back to that in a second. But that's what you'll use for your text. Alright. By clicking it in there, you end up with black straight away as your default color. You can change your type up here, and you can see what fonts you want. Okay, you've got a variety of them, a huge amount to choose from. Scroll down, choose the type that you want. Let's go for engravers. Okay, and then type your word. Mr. Oops. Mr. dot space B. Alright, very, very tiny, isn't it? Okay, click your bounding box, and straight away that's bounded, and you can now manipulate the size of that. Alright, so let's change that to 48. Oh, that's pretty clever, yeah. But I don't like it black. I want to change it to something different. What can I change it to? I'm going to change it to yellow. Yeah? And I want the black outline to be on it. So I click the outline box behind the yellow. I click the outline box, and I come over here and I select the color. Yep. Now 1 point. 1 point's too nasty. Let's make it half point. That's nicer, isn't it? Alright. And we'll put this on top of that, and it'll stand out much nicer. Yeah. And then we'll get the petals around it, which I'll show you how to manipulate next time. And that should sit just behind Mr. B. Look at that. Yeah? Not necessarily the most fantastic little bit of graphic, but we start to make it better with shapes. Now this is a bit small, this one, so let's click on that, hold the shift key down again, and just drag it so it's bigger. Yeah? And to be honest, I reckon Mr. B needs to be a different colour. Yeah, so I can come back over here, click that, and change it to red. No, that's no good. Bright green's cool. Alright, you get the idea now. This tool here, if you need to have a look at anything real quick, you can manipulate, use that. That's just again another tool that you can use. This one here, if you want to get a direct copy of a color scheme, it doesn't not. Oh, sorry. Let's go here. Edit, undo, eyedropper. Okay. You're going to click off the item if you don't want to be part of it. All right. So come over here to the eyedropper. All right. You can click that, and then you can change it. All right. What's this color scheme? Cool. What's this color scheme? Cool. What's this color scheme? So eyedropper is pretty fancy as well. And this one here is the hand tool. Again, it's a bit like the navigator, but you can maneuver it little bits and pieces, and you can be very, very delicate with how you move it. Okay. Alright, that should do us for now. I think next time we'll come back to this image and we'll look at how to make it so it's a bit of a better picture, and manipulate it and make it look a bit better. Yeah. Okay.